lot of research on Cuba for a project. So you sacrifice any freedom. So yeah, you may have free healthcare. How good is it? I don't know. But you don't get to determine your own path.
It's a gangster system. And then they have their athletics program, which is just off the charts. They produce some of the craziest athletes in combat sports, particularly in combat sports. I know they do in other things, but Teofilo Stevenson, who was the guy who was the rival to Muhammad Ali, but he never left amateur boxing. He just won the gold medal. I don't know how many he won in a row. But everybody was like, if we could get this guy out of Cuba, this is a guy that could actually test Muhammad Ali. He was that good.
Really?
And he was just in their Cuban program. And everyone was terrified of him because amateur boxers, they reach a certain level of ability and they get a good record going. And either they go to the Olympics, and if they can medal, that can ensure they get a big purse in their first few fights. Yep. Olympic gold medalist Pernell Whitaker. Yeah, crowd, America, America. But if they don't, they just get enough experience where they can go professional. But in Cuba, they never go professional. So you get guys that are 15, 16 years into a boxing career that's essentially always been professional, always been with the most elite coaches, the most elite sports drugs, like therapies they have. They're not natural. Like you're going to take whatever we give you. And that's what they did with Russia as well.
Yeah.
And
China.
So how many times did he win the gold medal?
3 golds in a row.
Jesus Christ. 3 golds in a row. That's 12 years of gold medals.
Then all these other golds, too, at other events.
Yeah, all these different events. I mean, he was the fan. So what you're essentially dealing with is like a Mike Tyson type dude who's at like that level of like world championship caliber boxing, but you're having him fight amateurs. So everybody else is just trying to get together a career so they can go off into the professionals. This guy can never be professional. So he is a professional. Right. So he's the best in the world, but he's just not getting paid to fight Muhammad Ali on television.
Right.
Ali might have beat him, Frazier might have beat him, Foreman might have, some of those guys might have beat him, but we never got to see it. But what we did see is like that caliber of boxing come out of Cuba. And some of the scariest guys that have ever fought in the UFC have come out of Cuba. Yoel Romero, the freakiest of freak athletes of all time, came out of Cuba.
Really?
Yeah, he never won the gold in the UFC, but he got to the fame when he was like 36.
Really?
Yeah, man. He's like in his 40s now and just jacked, natural.
Still fighting.
I told the story before. I apologize for people who listened. But the UFC brought him to a doctor because he had broke his orbital bone in a fight. And they brought him to his doctor. And the doctor contacts the UFC and says, "Where did you get this guy?" And he goes, "He's one of our fighters." They go, "I've never seen a guy like him." He goes, yeah, he's amazing, right? He goes, no, you don't understand. Like, I've never seen a human being like this. I've been a doctor for 35 years or whatever it was. He goes, the tendons in his eyes are 3 times larger than a normal person's. He goes, he's already healing. He goes, the bone that's fractured in his orbital is already healing. It started to heal. It's like, where'd you get this guy? Have you ever seen him? Wait, I just want you to see what he looks like. That's Yoel Romero. Bro, and he's in his 40s here. In his 40s. And he's an amazing guy. An amazing guy. He came in here and did a podcast with me, and Joey Diaz translated. So he can only speak limited English, but he was talking about Cuba. He was like, where you at in Cuba? There's so many guys. They're killers, and you become a machine. You become a machine. And I was like, oh, my God. What that guy went through. So that is also a part of what Cuba is. They're forced into this. If you were at the best level, you get to eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But if you're at the other level, you get to eat twice a day, and you don't get to sleep in the good places. You get to sleep in the shit places. So all these guys are training with each other, all fighting for these spots, literally for food. Stevenson, then 22 years old, was rewarded with a house for himself in Havana, and another for himself and his family in, I don't know how to say that, Delicias? Stevenson later recalled, I had no idea a house in Delicias was going to be so big. When I was shown the plane, I said, what is this, a bunker? Oh, the plans, rather. I said, what is this, a bunker? So they gave him stuff. They gave him, like, houses and shit.
And 2 cars.
Yeah. They would treat them well. They did that also for the Soviet athletes.
Right.
Like guys like Karelin, the guy that's another experiment. They literally called him the experiment.
Really?
You don't know who he is?
No.
I should have showed you the photo in the gym. And who was like 6'2", 300 pounds and moved like a cat.
Oh, I know exactly who this guy is. Yeah.
He would literally, his move was to pick guys up and smash them into the ground. So look at his face. He was beating you up with the world. Guys like, this is him. Look at what you do to people. This guy's it's a national champion from some country, and Carellin just got a hold of him. Boom! So he's just throwing you into the ground over and over and over and over again.